Alright guys, quick kind of long form discussion on the 74 caliber and where things are going. The tube is not actually mounted, but I have drilled out the valve opening. You can kind of see, oh, there you go, you can see right through into the hammer path. And I also installed the top lever, and I made the bolt and the linkage and the toggle and everything else. This is going to get some kind of handle, like a little T handle right there, so I can easily from the rear grab it while using my right hand, maybe to grab the barrel, and then my left hand to just clunk. Usually you wouldn't want to grab the barrel on a gun, but this barrel's 7/8 of an inch thick, so I don't think it's going to matter. But anyway, here's the basic mechanism. That's how it's going to open and close. Probably could use some fine tuning. There we go. The bolt body back here is, I want to say 945 thousandths, and then the front where it goes through this path is 740. This required a liner because when I was drilling and trying to keep everything, parallel and perpendicular, I didn't have the length from the back end, and because the front wasn't square yet, and still, well, maybe it is now, but the front wasn't square yet, I couldn't flip the part, I didn't have the depth, so I only had a long bit in that size, so I did a liner, which works out fine. The bolt rides along it smoothly, and I just got to clean up the lip right there, which I'll come back in with an end mill and do. That's the transfer port, which right now is limited to 0.375, but I plan on getting that at least into the 400s. I have no idea what they use in 74 caliber transfer ports, but I'd imagine it's probably close to 600 thousandths. But I don't think we're going for that type of power, especially not with a 12-inch barrel. And I know the larger calibers put out, like the Zeus puts out whatever 1,200 foot-pounds or something. This gun's going to be tiny by comparison, although it looks pretty big right now. Once this is all sectioned off and the trigger's installed, because see this part right here, that's probably going to get trimmed away. Once that's done, trigger installed, I'm going to do some fly cutting to clean up some surfaces, like perhaps this top surface, and then once, as I was saying, once that trigger inlet is done, that's all going to be fly cut, and then these from here back, or at least from the valve back, the valve wall has to stay as thick as it is right now, and I'll discuss that further. But from here back will be cleaned up, and same thing on the other side. The block's gotten a lot lighter, which is a positive note, because I'm guessing it weighed 6 or 7 pounds originally. One thing that I'm concerned about with this design, and it's not the top lever. The top lever actually has a bunch of benefits. One of them being that you don't have to deal with that path vertical, because you're going to have a slot between the bolt path and the hammer path. In order to catch the hammer, you're going to have a slot. And generally, if this was a side lever, your bolt comes down, and because you have that slot, it has nothing to intersect in the middle. So it's a real complication I had with the last 2 monoblock builds that require a lot of cocking effort, is that the bolt had nothing to grab on the other end. So this setup is beyond ideal, because number one, I have a shorter distance to span with the bolt on the back pivot of the lever. But number two is, as I tighten that lever, I can adjust the side friction on the, because this will flex inward toward the lever, so I can actually adjust tension on the lever. Right now it's, it's pretty much set to perfection. Once it's under load, it'll naturally keep itself down. And for once, I actually went slightly further out with the link lever than I did with the back intersection, if that makes any sense. If these two distances, let's say they're measured from the top, This is slightly further out, so I should get mechanical cam over, locking it shut. And I was talking about the wall thickness. So anyway, as I got started drilling this, the first things I was doing were 1-inch holes or 7/8 holes at slow RPM, and I was getting some odd chips. Not, well, odd to me because I'm so used to machining aluminum, you know, in large quantities. I said something's not right. And I had went by, I don't know if you can still see it. Yep, you can, right over there in that black ink. When I bought it, it wasn't listed as a certain grade of aluminum, but it said 063 on the side. So I imagined it was 6063 aluminum, and that some of it had been smeared off. I'm not sure about that anymore. The seller doesn't know. He got it at like an auction from a retired gunsmith or something, and he doesn't know the grade. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it could possibly be a casting, a very well done casting if it was done at home. I mean, it's very impressive, but that really leads to structural integrity worries. Even though the wall thickness is 130 thousandths on both sides of the valve, I'm going to have to hydro test before I get into any high pressure shooting with this. I'm just going to cap this off, put the valve stem in, and, you know, fill to whatever pressure I see fit, you know, before I chicken out. And it'll be filled with probably water. This is aluminum, so it won't matter. So I'll probably fill it with water, incompressible fluid, and do a hydro test before I do any real fills or shooting. But otherwise, I don't think it's going to be an issue because I've allotted for that with so much wall thickness. And this lines up when centered right about there. So there's not going to be much of a gap between the barrel and the 1.75 chromoly air tube. Although, when I get the right size rod in, it might be a little bit offset to the front just for the sealing purposes on the face of this. But yeah, that's about it. I really like the top lever idea. You might ask, you know, how are you going to mount sights? What are you going to do with this? Well, I have no idea, but you know what? It'll work itself out. And this is just such economical motion, you know, that I think I'm going to like it even in practice, especially with a little T-handle here. Just grab it, yank it, and it's something different. I mean, I've done 2 or 3 side levers recently, and you know, that gets boring after some time. What else? Yeah, I don't know what else right now, but we've made some serious progress the last 2 days, so stay tuned, thumbs up, subscribe, whatever. Thanks for watching.